Dan here, TV Speech Up. Okay, we want to take a quick minute here. And so we just put a couple videos out on this 55 Chevy, and the cat's kind of the bag now that we're might be spending a few dollars on this unit. And I mean, kind of not characteristic of, I guess, what we do around here is actually spending like real money on things. And that's cool. So all summer, I've been selling stuff left and right. Obviously, we're getting down payment money for a home and whatnot, and that's been going terrible. It's very boring and unfun. And anyway, I got to the point where I wanted to work on something for myself, and I convinced myself that this is what I needed. And I mean, let's be honest, I haven't regretted it for 1 minute. But so I guess what I want to kind of go over was buy once, cry once. I kind of don't even follow my own advice most of the time. A lot of times I am kind of on the cheaper side. And it ends up biting me. And I know a lot of you guys get in the comments, you always say, well, do this, or you should have done that, or while you're there, or whatever it is. And you're not wrong. The problem is, a big part of it's time. And a big part of it is funds. And I think a lot of people kind of forget that you have, a lot of people have maybe one or two kind of pretty nice cars, whereas we prefer 20 to 30 really crappy cars. So it's the same amount of budget, but just whatever. Now in this one, I mean, this is a 55 Chevrolet, and this is the first car I built on YouTube. It has a lot of sentimental value, not to mention it is probably, a 55 Chevy is my favorite car, or one of. So I don't have the regret or spending the money on it. So we went for it. And ultimately, we have a really good relationship now with John Cecil, who build the motors and stuff like that. So I'm 100% confident in it. Versus buying, I've seen some horror stories lately of people buying like name brand stuff from who knows where, and it's junk. Or you spend the risk of going online, without getting into exactly how many dollars I spent on this thing, but there's a lot of big block Chevys around us anyways on Facebook for 5,000 plus, let's just say it that. Let's say you buy a $5,000-$6,000 big block that's like, oh yeah, it ran good, this and that, blah, 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 blah. And you go, okay. And then it doesn't run good, or it flattens the camshaft, or any of those things. Any dollar you think you've maybe saved, you are so upside down in it. And a perfect example, and this is the main reason, I've been buying motors now because they're actually kind of important. The last one I bought, we didn't use at all in that Camaro, but it sounds good. It just sits good in the Nova. But before that, we put that 327 in Danny's car, and then 2 weeks later, immediately took it to Georgia. This one I want to put a bunch of miles on. But before that, if we go in the Wayback Machine, was it last year, 2 years ago, we bought that big block for the Biscayne. So I bought the motor from a guy, and it was a good running motor for $1,000, and then we threw probably $1,500 or $2,000 at it because, camshaft, intake manifold, carburetor, a set of headers. Now I realize those parts aren't, if the motor screws up, the carburetor doesn't go bad, but still, you put that money into that motor. I put a torque converter in it, the motor mounts, maybe change the oil pan, all the labor, I put a big radiator in it, all that stuff eats camshaft. So, I gotta think, even though that $1,000 junkyard RV motor, I was $5,000 into it before I knew it happened, and then it lunched the thing, and then the worst part of the whole thing, it killed my motivation on it, because I was like, well, now you're just mad, right? Even if you had the money sitting there, you don't want to do a job twice. So there you have it. That's why we're doing it this way. I also see that the old "it must be nice" comments are going to come, and it is nice. I'm not going to lie. We worked very hard all summer. We've been putting out a lot more videos. We've achieved our financial goal for a home, and had the approvals and all that. So we're on track there. And then no bones about it, I just sold that 56 Chevrolet, and the entire funds of that is going right into this. And that's just the way it is. And it's I don't people say don't defend it, and I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just saying, kind of where I'm coming from, and I want to have something nice. And the hilarious part is we're putting all this money in this car which is a 4-door junk. It's like you can, on the other side, you can see Murr was pointing out yesterday. We were sitting on the couch and we were chatting. But he was like, are you going to paint this thing this year? I'm like, probably not. Like, you can see the 40 grit sanding scratches. Like, it's just, it cracks me up that this is where we're spending the money on this car. But I love it. So there you have it. Must be nice. Well, I guess, I don't know. I've spent the most hours in the garage this summer, out of any summer ever in my life. So, and ultimately, we have that. And that 56 Chevy was a hilarious one because we just did that before.
Should we go talk about it in front of it? Give the people a last look?
Let's go walk over there. Drinking in the morning. People love that going. It's 0 calorie water. I'm trying to. Anyway, so 56 Chevrolet. So this thing here was hilarious. So we was working on it, and I mean, if you have me new here, it's I bought it last year as a 4-door. It was just a junk. It had a junk motor in it, and we 2-door swapped it, and then I bought a 6-liter LS and a brand new transmission for it. And our goal was just kind of have fun and have like a burnout car or something like that. And then ultimately, plans changed, and it got to a thing now where it's the end of the year, and I don't really want to store it. Well, it's the end of the year, it's August, but it's, getting to the point where we're not going to really get to it. Oh, neighbor's there. Ooh, that morning drink. Oh, sorry about that. But, so we got to... Yeah, it's a 0.
Peach.
It's 0. I don't even drink.
Sparkling white.
Oh, there's 10
flavor.
calories in here? I thought it was 0. Damn it.
That's probably why you like that one the best.
Yeah. It does taste the most like freedom. Anyway, where was I? Oh, so we're getting to be it's kind of August here. We've been selling cars. I'm kind of in that mode. We have to deal with this thing. We're not going to do anything with it this year, yet again. So it's kind of time. Oh, she's talking away. But it's kind of time now to decide what we're going to do with it. What's going on? Bubble water. Okay, so whirlwind here, but so this hot rod, we did a bunch of work to it. Like I said, I kind of had a dream of making into something, and then life kind of happens, time kind of happens, and ultimately now it's getting to be August. We're probably not going to get to it this year. It's going to have to go in storage again. We're fixing the move stuff. Like, it's just, unfortunately, it's a really good car in my mind, and it's kind of going on the back burner. Now, we took a bunch of flack on this thing, which was hilarious. When we first built this car, we got it, and it was yellow and ugly, and it didn't run very well, and all sorts of stuff. And then I 2-door converted it. And those videos did quite well, and people like that, which is always kind of fun, and I enjoy doing it. It's been a while now since we've done it. Well, it's been a year, so we should probably do another one at some point. And we kind of left it there, and the original plan was leave it kind of rough, and then we put a 6-liter in it, and a few things like that, got a Holly kit, and then just winter happened, didn't touch it. Bring it back, get it running and driving. Probably spent 2 weeks on it, I guess, maybe. Nothing too crazy. And everything was going good. People were kind of liking it and this and that. Then all of a sudden I go do some body work. And man, did the internet let me have it on this thing. I've never had so much hate. People were like direct messaging. People were finding me selling stuff on Facebook and letting me know how much of a hack I was. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I get it. We're not trying to hide anything. It was a bit of a rough car. And I painted it flat black just so it would kind of be something. Now, most people got it, I will say. But people were just like, you shouldn't be allowed to have cars and this and that. I was like, whoa. Anyways, we do that. The car gets done. It's all black. And I'm thinking to myself, well, did I really screw this thing up? Like, you got to kind of think about it. Well, then the second it's black, oh, it looks great. Good job, blah, 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 blah. And then it's sold in a day. So there you have it, the internet. But, yeah, a little bit of flack on this old girl. So there you go. This is gone. And I think this is probably the last one to go. I'm not going to lie. I have since bought 4 cars, which are not even in this province, some of them. That's just kind of how it worked out when deals pop up. So we'll be replacing it with lots of things. Locally here, I think all we have left is that Ford truck, which is still kind of up in the air for me, if we should keep it or not.
I would like to keep it.
You want to keep it?
It just needs a fuel pump.
Yeah, we should go do that. Maybe we'll do it today. We'll get a fuel pump and get it running. Because that would be a cool truck to kind of drive around, just kind of have kicking around. But there you have it. So that's kind of the way things have gone here lately. This is actually tomorrow is being picked up. Tomorrow or the day after, one or the other. So it'll be bye-bye, which then leaves us a spot to bring that Ford truck home. Huh? There we have it. And but there you go. So that's where we've been at the last kind of summer or last few months. I realize. Oh, Danielle, question in the back.
Just so what is coming up? Because people have also, I will say, they're like, you started hard on the Chevelle and then just whoosh, the Chevelle stopped.
Big things coming, gang. So the Chevelle is going. I'm working on it. What had happened is, not to give you too much of our life of excuses. So the Chevelle was a flyer. I wasn't planning on buying that car, and it just popped up. We bought it and carried on. So I got it. We put the floors in. We got the tub on the one side. We got the quarter on. The quarter needs a little bit of fitment. I'm not going to lie. It ran into I might have been a little overzealous with some of the cutting. So we may have to figure something out there. But hey, these things happen. So I'll get back to it. But the thing with the Chevelle is, I know a lot of viewers are in the south, so they don't have the same situations we have, but we have summer driving. That's all we got. So here we are, it's August. There's I don't want to say no way, but I'd have to work so hard to get that car just in ratty black primer running and driving to enjoy it for a weekend this year, right? Like it's not going to happen. Like we get snow come October 1st. So, wow, that's something. I think it was a fly. So anyways, we'd have 2 months to absolutely, give her to get the car to this level, which is fine for runner driver, but I don't really want to do that. I'd like that car to be nicer. So the way I look at it, we have a year before that car has to be on the road and do anything with it. So what's the point in rushing it and thrashing on it? And for my own sanity, going back and forth between cars is kind of keeps it more fun versus just every single day a grind on the Chevelle. And that 55 Chevrolet, I have been threatening to work on that car since the day I built it. And ultimately now, you know what? I'm a few dollars into that thing, I will say. But you know what? That black Nomad and then that blue Nomad were real eye-openers for me in kind of spending the money and buying stuff. Last year was the first time I really spent legitimate money on anything. When I did that black Nomad, I bought that TKX transmission, which was like $6,000 or something like that, some ridiculous amount of money. But the amount of $1,000 turbo 350s I've put in a car and then don't drive it on the highway or get mad about it or pick your excuse, versus I spent that and that had the gear ratio I wanted in it. It had a hydraulic clutch. Everything was brand new.
You've been happy with it every day.
Everything worked. You hook up the backup lights, you hook up the neutral safety. I had zero problems, zero complaints, and I beat the tar out of that thing. I drive that car more than I would drive anything else because I could hop into it, and it's good for the city, it's good for the highway. Like everything about it is fantastic. What are we looking at? And then same thing when I put that Ford 9-inch in that car. It had the right gear ratio. I could put the tire I wanted on it. Like there were so many things like that versus, junkyard finds or you get the rear end, you put it in there, you get this transmission, you get these things. And is the car running and driving? Yes. And I know a lot of people kind of throw it back to the Freiburg, which says don't get it right, just get it running. And I totally agree. But there are times when it's nice to have a car that is dead nuts reliable and can do multiple things. So up until this point, we've kind of been at the point where you have a bit of a racy car, you have a bit of a cruiser, you have a this, you have a that. But we're at a point in the world right now where you can spend a few more dollars, and instead of having two cars, and that's kind of how I look at it, one car can do double duty. I mean, Drag and Drive has brought that out, all these things. So that 55 Chevrolet, which the videos are coming up, it's going to have a rowdy big block, a Turbo 400, the gear vendor, and a Ford 9-inch. It's got to have disc brakes the whole way around. It's going to have a decent, kind of sitting interior and seat and all that. That's a car And I got those mufflers that go loud to quiet. Loud is very loud. Quiet's a little quiet. But anyways, that's literally a car now that's, I don't want to say comparable to like a newer Challenger or something like that, right? But it can, in theory, be an absolute beast, streetlight to streetlight, have fun at the track, and I could drive it to the East Coast or wherever I want, or power tour, and enjoy the thing. So it checks off all those boxes versus, you know, you have the Blue Nomad, which would be kind of more stalker with the overdrive and all that sort of stuff. But then you get somewhere and you can't do a burnout or whatever. And I gotta say, building the black car and then meeting people like Lucky, you know, like Hot Rod Garage Lucky, who just beats the crap out of his cars, but drives them. They have overdrive, the air conditioning works, and you know, I guess there are certain cheaper ways to kind of get around that. But having a car you really love, if it's the car you want, like a 56 Chevy, isn't for me. But a 55 Chevy, I shotgun the money at it.
We've also done, like, our whole foundation of the channel was like building with the resources that we've had, and we've worked very hard to get more resources.
Now we're rich.
So oh, that's news to me. No more ramen?
No. Ultimately, I mean, you know, we sold one car, and I am literally putting this car's resources into another car. So instead of buying another one, it's just going into the 55. So we're rebuilding that car. That's how it is. And I also go through cars like crazy. I buy a lot of cars. So now that car has been off the channel for 4 years. It's almost like rebuilding it. And I'm sure I probably spent, you know, the 10 grand I'm putting in it now. Had I bought a junk 55 Chevy, you'd put 10 grand into it anyways, because you buy the car, spoiler alert, 55 Chevrolets, you buy them for $1,800, and they are literally cut in half. You've literally bought two halves of two 55 Chevys, possibly, in a different province. Hypothetically, these things happen. And then, so you're $1,800, then you have to have it shipped. Then you have to buy a floor pan, which is $1,000 or $1,200. Then you have to do a front disc brake kit. Then you have to do, control arms. Then you got to redo the back brakes. So now, hypothetically, you got $5,000 or $6,000 in a car you've welded back together, put all new sheet metal in, all new brakes and all that sort of stuff. And then guess what? There is no motor, there is no transmission, there is no wiring, there is no door panels, there is no anything. And so you cheap out and you buy a junk motor or whatever it is, and you got $10,000 or $12,000 into this. This is exactly what you end up with. So, do you spend your $10,000 on this? Or do you spend your $10,000 and take an existing car you have
and that you love,
that I love, and that I actually don't drive because it pisses me off because it's not what I want? So there you have it. A rant with Dan, drinking in the mornings, and we'll see you next Monday.